Something is happening in Charlotte that feels all too familiar. For years, we've been waiting for that one missing piece to finally unlock this offense. You know that feeling when you're just one move away from the Super Bowl? Real fans remember the days when the middle of the field was our territory. But right now, there's a tension building behind the scenes. If you're faithful to the Panthers, you need to hear this. Before we dive into the latest shift, make sure to like and subscribe to stay updated. Something big is changing, and it is absolutely huge. The news just broke, and honestly, it's a tough pill to swallow for anyone who's been tracking our roster needs. David Njoku, a guy who many thought was the perfect fit for Bryce Young, has officially signed with the Chargers. We were pitched as the ideal landing spot. We had the cap space. We had the clear need. Yet, the front office let him walk. It feels like we're back in that revolving door of mediocrity at the tight end position. Think about it. Since Greg Olsen left in 2020, we haven't had a single player at that spot that keeps opposing defensive coordinators up at night. This isn't just about one player. It's about the identity of our offense. When you have a young quarterback like Bryce, you need a safety valve. You need a big-bodied threat who can win those contested catches in the red zone. But instead of grabbing a proven star, we're heading into 2026 with Tommy Tremble at the top of the depth chart. Now, I like Tommy's effort, but is he the guy who changes the geometry of the field? This move, or lack thereof, signals something deeper about how Dave Canales views this position. It creates this sense of concern because we've seen this movie before. We've watched seasons slip away because we couldn't convert a third and short, or because the seam was wide open but we didn't have the athlete to exploit it. Bringing in a veteran like Njoku would have changed the entire gravity of our passing game. It would have forced linebackers to stay home. It would have opened up the outside for our receivers. But here's the thing. The Panthers seem to think they're just fine. There's this insider atmosphere suggesting they believe the current room is better than the national media gives them credit for. But for us fans, it feels like a massive gamble. We're watching contenders load up on weapons while we're banking on internal development that hasn't materialized for years. It's an emotional roller coaster because you want to trust the process, but the history of this position in Carolina since 2020 makes it hard to stay patient. We are at a crossroads where the future of the franchise depends on these small, yet massive, roster decisions right now. The deeper you look into this, the more the risks start to pile up. It's not just that we missed on Njoku, it's the fact that we've passed on basically everyone. During the draft, there was so much buzz around Kenyon Sadiq. Fans were ready. We thought, okay, if we don't get a vet, we'll get the next big thing. But Sadiq went off the board and we chose Monroe Freeling instead. Then came the reports that we absolutely adored Oscar Delp. That went nowhere. We didn't even look at the undrafted market for a sleeper. This creates a massive amount of pressure on Bryce Young. Imagine being a young quarterback trying to find your rhythm when your tight end room is considered by many to be the worst in the entire NFL. That's a heavy burden to carry. We're talking about roster consequences that could ripple through the next 3 seasons. If Ja'Tavion Sanders or Mitchell Evans don't make a historic leap, where does the production come from? There's an uncertainty here that's honestly a bit terrifying for a team trying to rebuild its culture. We watched Isaiah Likely, Noah Fant, and Chig Okonkwo all sign deals that weren't even that expensive. These were opportunities to inject life into the offense, and we just stayed quiet. Is it a lack of urgency or a different vision entirely? Some are saying the front office is being disciplined, but it feels like we're leaving our quarterback out to dry. The expectations for this year are high, and the margin for error is razor thin. When you look at the successful offenses in this league, they almost all have a tight end who can move the chains. We are betting everything on a group that has yet to prove they can be more than just blockers. This tension isn't going away. Every time a tight end on another team makes a big play, we're going to be looking back at this offseason and wondering what if? It's that future of the franchise atmosphere where one decision can set you back years. We need to know if there's a plan we aren't seeing yet. Because right now, the silence from the front office regarding the tight end position is deafening, and it is making the faithful very uneasy today. But this is where things change. We have to ask ourselves, what does this really mean for the Dave Canales era? In his past systems, the tight end wasn't always the focal point, but it was always a functional piece. Maybe the Panthers think that in this specific scheme, the tight end simply doesn't matter as much. But even if that's true, it still ignores the emotional impact on the roster. Players want to see the front office bringing in talent. They want to see that the team is doing everything possible to win now. By passing on names like Jonnu Smith or even a veteran like Zach Ertz, the message being sent is one of extreme, perhaps dangerous, patience. And that's the biggest question. Can we afford to be this patient? This could become something much bigger if the offense stalls in September. If we're sitting there in week 4 and the tight ends have combined for 5 catches, the pressure on the coaching staff is going to be immense. This is about more than just stats. It's about the gravity of the offense. A threat at tight end forces the safety to play down, which clears out the deep third. Without that threat, defenses can just bracket our top receivers and dare us to beat them with Tommy Tremble. It's a chess match, and it feels like we've voluntarily given up one of our most important pieces before the game even starts. This creates a loop of uncertainty. We look at the Super Bowl window and we wonder if it's being pushed back because we're unwilling to address a glaring hole. The depth isn't there, the proven talent isn't there, and the fan emotion is reaching a boiling point. We've seen other teams turn their fortunes around by finding that one hybrid player who can do it all. Instead, we're hoping for a miracle from a rookie or a bounce back from a veteran who's already had his chances. This isn't just a technical roster move. It's a test of the team's identity. Are we a team that settles for fine, or are we a team that chases excellence? Right now, it feels like we are simply settling for what is convenient. I'm going to be honest with you all. This actually worries me more than most of the other roster moves we've made this year. I really like what we did on the offensive line, and I think the defense has some real potential, but this tight end situation feels like a blind spot. I'm trying to stay optimistic, but it's hard when you see a guy like David Njoku go to the Chargers for a deal we easily could have matched. It makes me wonder if there's something we don't know about the health or the development of Ja'Tavion Sanders. Maybe he's looking like a superstar in practice. I really hope that's the case. But until we see it on the field, it feels like we're playing with fire. I think fans should pay attention to how often we use 3 receiver sets this year, because that will tell the real story. If we're barely using tight ends, then maybe the front office is right. But if we're asking these guys to play 60 snaps a game, and they aren't producing, we're in trouble. I want to believe in the vision. I want to believe that Mitchell Evans is going to be the steal of the year. But my gut tells me we're going to regret not adding a veteran presence. Think about a guy like Darren Waller or Robert Tonyan. Even if they aren't in their prime, they bring a level of professional savvy that a young room desperately needs. This could be incredible if the young guys step up, but it could also become a problem that defines the entire season. We're in this weird space of cautious optimism where you want to support the team, but you also see the same patterns from the past few years repeating themselves. It's that insider fan perspective. You know the team's history too well to just ignore the red flags. We've been hurt by poor tight end play for 4 years straight. To think that 2026 will magically be different without a major addition requires a lot of faith. I'm leaning towards concern, but man, I would love to be proven wrong. This team needs a spark, and I am just not sure if it is coming soon. The story is far from over, and that's what makes being a Panthers fan so exhausting and exciting at the same time. We're heading into a season where the biggest question mark on the offense is a position we've ignored for half a decade. Will the front office make a late move? Will someone like Zach Ertz finally get the call? Or are we truly rolling the dice with what we have? The future is incredibly uncertain right now. If Bryce Young succeeds despite this, he's a legend. If the offense struggles, we all know exactly where the fingers will be pointed. This tension is going to follow us all the way to kickoff. Something bigger is still coming, whether it's a surprising breakout from a young player or a mid-season trade to save the offense. I want to hear from you, the real Panthers faithful. Does this tight end room worry you as much as it worries me? Or do you think Ja'Tavion Sanders is the real deal? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. We need to talk about this because the identity of our team is on the line. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you bleed blue and black. We're in this together through the highs and the lows. Stay tuned, because this season is about to get very interesting. Keep pounding because we are never going to stop fighting for our team.